A new patch just dropped and it's full of amazing changes for the Necromancer. I'll link to the full patch notes below and a thread covering hidden changes too. Firstly, we can rejoice that our blighted corpse explosion no longer completely blinds us. We can now see ground effects, enemies, corpses, and so on. This is great not only for us, but for group play, so expect others to now be more willing to party up with Necros. Another hidden patch note is that corpse tendrils appears to be working more consistently now. It was always extremely powerful, but it would often fail to pull in some enemies or not pull them in far enough. Grouping enemies will be even easier now, which will make pushing high level nightmare dungeons much more manageable for many builds. Our basic abilities have been buffed across the board to inflict a little more damage and provide more essence. A notable improvement was made to Reap, allowing it to provide corpses more often, which will feel great if you were using this ability to ensure you had a corpse ready for corpse tendrils. Sever received some much needed damage improvements. While it would still struggle to carry a build's damage, it is a nice boost. Supernatural Bloodlance just got a massive buff. It will now guarantee an overpower every 7 casts instead of 9. Bloodlance is a strange ability where for the majority of the game it is completely useless, especially when compared to Blood Surge, which can feel like it does the same thing but to an entire screen instead. Even before this buff, Bloodlance became a strong option for overpower builds once you had enough essence cost reduction and attack speed. This is because it has a higher overpower modifier, it pierces targets, and with the aspect that gives it a chance to split off, you can spread the effect to an entire pack and inflict a much higher damage overpower than you could with Blood Surge. Plus, with the corpse tendrils buff to its consistency, spreading Bloodlance will be even easier than ever against tightly grouped stacks. I'm not currently spec'd into Overpower to properly try it, but I expect Bloodlance could potentially surpass Blood Surge in Overpower builds, especially if they're trying to push high tier nightmare dungeons, as it provides much higher burst damage for tough elite packs. Bone Prison cooldown reduction is a nice touch. You'll probably still want to be running some cooldown reduction through Decrepify lucky hits or your gear to use this ability. But regardless, those extra 2 seconds go a long way in making this ability feel more useful. The Fortify buff is almost doubled too, which is amazing. You can fairly reliably fill up your Fortify through Bone Prison alone now, especially with the tighter grouping from corpse tendrils to fit as many enemies as possible inside the effect. Iron Maiden was massively buffed, yet even still I doubt this skill will see much play. It'll need some stronger aspects or interactions to truly be worth taking up a slot on your bar. More blood orbs on tendrils is nice, especially if your build doesn't use vulnerable, like in overpower builds, or you source vulnerable from other skills like the ghastly Bone Prison upgrade. Bone Spikes is our dismount attack. It's nice to see it buffed, though it doesn't really mean too much for the bulk of our gameplay. Minions will now always engage targets with a curse. Right now, our curses are AoE, so it doesn't seem like a particularly useful way to get them to directly attack what you want. There is a comment in the Hidden Changes thread from Raging Kane, who mentions that the AI feels about 20% better in general. Overall, this seems like a positive change. We'll just have to see exactly how impactful it is over the next few days. Kalen's Edict received a huge buff. While the throughput remains the same, it will be active far more often than ever before. Overpower builds can rejoice with this sizable Ruthma's Vigor buff. Having a guaranteed overpower every 12 seconds instead of 15 goes a long way. If you've gotten used to timing it at 13 or so stacks, you'll need to adjust to watching out for when it hits around 10, so you don't waste the proc on the wrong ability or something like a single remaining normal mob. Buffing our Thorns passive is nice, but it still remains largely a dead talent for Necros. Aspect of Bursting Bones isn't something I've actually used before, and the tooltip damage is still so dreadfully low. Perhaps there's something to it that I'm not aware of. If you think this is a meaningful change in aspect, please let me know in the comments. Flesh Rending gained a huge buff to its essence gain, but it's still a terrible aspect that will still remain dead. The Fast Blood aspect was just massively buffed, and this is very exciting for me. Later today, I'll be releasing a Bloodwave build that I've been working on, and this aspect change will go a long way in making it even more powerful. For builds that use Bone Storm, they already have enough cooldown reduction for near permanent uptime, so this aspect seems better angled towards improving your Bloodwave and Army of the Dead instead. With enough lucky hit, cooldown reduction and blood orb generation, we may even see builds with near permanent uptime on the unyielding commander's aspect for near immortal pets attacking absurdly fast. Overall, these patch notes are great for Necromancer players, and even if our power doesn't spike immensely from them, the improvements to corpse tendrils and corpse explosion visibility are already extremely valuable changes. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on these changes below. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll catch you in the next one.